Welcome to the Going North podcast, where you will be informed, encouraged, and empowered to embrace your dreams and advance in life through authorship. I'm your host, best-selling author of the book Stay the Course, and certified leadership trainer, Dom Brightman. Be sure to check out the goods and services from every guest, as well as the host himself, yours truly. Now let the fun begin. And today on the Going North podcast, we're bringing some fabulous humans from across the globe. Today is no different. Echo my kid. Today is a different day. It's a special occasion for those listening in the current year of 2020, where it's 8 years past the Twinkies going missing for a month. You're going to be in for a treat, baby. It's still pumpkin spice season, mixed with holiday cheer as well, because we got one heck of an awesome guest for today, folks. Because my goodness, this fabulous lady right here, this wonderful lady right here, she's known for being an inspirational host of the Everyday is News show, a two-time best-selling author, a certified ICF, and Law of Attraction transformational coach. So she's a decorated coach, everyone. And not only that, she is an interview confidence coach, Reiki Master, former crime analyst. And to make it even better, this woman is an award-winning blogger, because back in 2017, her blog was selected as one of feedspots.com top 100 life coach websites and blogs. And the beautiful thing about it is she is now the co-author of another awesome, wonderful book that's going to be a bestseller, which is probably a bestseller by the time you finish this, Navigating the Clickety Clack. That's right, Navigating the Clickety Clack indeed. So let's give it up for one of my favorite humans on the planet Earth, Kim ONeill. How you feeling, Kim?
Oh, Dom, thank you so much. It's awesome to be here, and I'm feeling pretty good. Thank you.
Good. How many O's are talking here with the good?
What was that? Is that another
Yeah.
dad joke?
Yeah, it's a dad joke. It's usually a measurement. It's usually all right. If it's good with two O's, then that's normal. If it's 3+, then that's really freaking awesome.
Okay. Now that I get the reference, you know what? It's a good day. I see about 7 or 8 O's in there.
All right, there we go. Since you're in October, baby, we'll go with 8 O's. That's right. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed.
Sounds good to me. Yes.
Don't worry, don't have to tread softly. There's no landmines ahead. You'll be all right.
Thank you, Dom. Everyone's going, what are they talking about? I don't know either.
Don't worry, it's not the first time, especially when I drop the tree joke on unsuspecting humans. But don't worry, that might not be ahead. But I know what's ahead is the fact that you're a lady with many lives. So my goodness, crime analyst turned transformational coach with multiple past lives in one life. So my goodness, like, is there anything that Kim ONeill cannot do?
Oh, thanks, Dom. I love that question. I personally like to believe that I can do anything, and it all comes down to, what do I really want to do? What do any of us really want to do? Those are going to be the things that we tend to do well at, we tend to see progress in, and tend to receive the most fulfillment and be most passionate about. And it's that energy that when we infuse that into something, that's what helps us to keep going, be able to, reach new heights and things like that. And so I've always been a person with lots of interests, and that shows up in my professional background for sure. And I'm grateful. I'm grateful for the journey.
There you go. There you go. A long journey indeed. And my goodness, like, so many freaking lives you lived. Like, you actually was going to be a family counselor at one point, but apparently that didn't work out. I guess that led to the crime analyst, or what happened? What happened there?
Okay, not quite. I guess you could kind of say that. It took me a long time to finally get my bachelor's degree. And by the time I finished that, I was in my late 20s, and I always knew I was going to move. I always believed I was going to move in the direction of marriage family counseling, something along those lines. And when I finally said, okay, I've rested enough after the bachelor's degree and we're ready to now pursue a master's degree, all of a sudden it was like one roadblock after another that just came out of the blue. Didn't make any sense, because I thought for certain that was my life path. That was, whether you call it mental health counselor or marriage family therapist or even social work, all of those kind of fall in the same genre. And so I had been looking at each one of those and taking strides in those directions. And like I said, each time something just totally unexpected came and took me off course. By the third time, it made no sense. And I was truly devastated because I've always felt very connected to wanting to help others and, feeling fulfilled in the work that I do, which to me looked like one of those paths. And so it was heartbreaking when I just finally had to accept, okay, something's happening here. I don't know what's going on. Why am I being diverted every time I move in this direction? And at that moment, I decided to reconsider coaching, which is something I had just briefly thought about and brushed off. And as soon as I decided, you know what, this could work, maybe coaching is the right avenue, because it's kind of in the same, it's similar, it's different, but it's similar with connecting with people one-on-one and in groups and helping them. And as soon as I said yes to that, and I started moving in that direction, it was the complete opposite experience. Everything was falling into place, one after another. And so it's been really awesome to see how that's unfolded and led to, podcasts and co-authoring books and all sorts of different things that I'm doing today. So things have shifted, but I'm grateful for where it's taking me.
Ah, yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. And it's great to be grateful indeed. So you mentioned like being redirected so many times. So what's your advice to other folks who may be going through that period right now? Because of course, the elephant in the world of 2020, making everybody pivot and redirect their whole lives by default. What's probably your advice for those folks who may be going through that period right now from your experience?
For a long time, I said, and it's been so long since I've said this now, but for a very long time, I said something to the effect of, just please continue to show me the way. Show me the way. Show me the way. Thank you for showing me the way. Thank you for guiding me. Thank you for leading me. And it's interesting when I look back now and I see how, oh my goodness, I really was guided. I really was led. I remember before I started saying that simple phrase every single day, I was very confused. I knew that somewhere down the road, I was going to have a career path where I was able to help people one-on-one. And I just had zero clue of how to move in that kind of direction. I did know, okay, it's going to look like more education. It's going to look like getting a master's degree, right? For a long time, that's what I thought it was going to look like. But even so, it still just felt like there was this big question mark around how am I going to move in the direction of what I'm supposed to do, what I feel called to do, and how to serve the world. And why does this feel so hard? Like other people, they're pursuing their passions, they're accomplishing certain goals, and what's happening here? And so I just started asking that question. And I apologize, I forgot that you asked about the crime analysis. That was one of the things that I landed myself in while I was in the process of figuring things out. And that was actually when I was actively practicing the law of attraction.
Mm.
So I was already moving in the direction of, I, had gotten one coach certification. I was working on my second one. I was working on becoming a Reiki Master practitioner as well at that time. And I wasn't ready to go full time with any of those things yet. And so I was working as an administrative assistant to that type of job. And I said, you know what, before I decide to leave the traditional, office work environment, I want to do something that allows me to utilize more of my analytical skills. I want something that's more interesting, something that allows me to just, kind of go deep into problem solving and figuring things out. And I'll leave the rest of the details out, but basically I ended up with a crime analyst job. And that was awesome. That allowed me to do exactly what I said, of analyzing things. And it's kind of like putting together a puzzle. And it was through that experience that, again, I was moving closer and closer towards what I do today with coaching and helping people. And eventually it was just time to, okay, it's time to now make that leap and that transition. So what I would say for anybody who's in that space of feeling like, there's something else that you want, you don't know how to get there. If you literally just even start by asking, please show me, And what do I mean by that? Say it to the universe, say it to God, say it to your higher self. Just say it out loud. You don't have to believe in anything beyond, yourself in the physical world. That's fine. But just start to ask that out loud. You open up space then for that pathway to be shown to you. And that's one of the fascinating things as I look back and remember, oh, that's right. I used to say that all the time. And when you're in the moment, you don't see that path unfolding. But years down the road, you look back and you go, whoa, my life is dramatically different. And I totally see the value of how just asking that question opened up the journey for so much more to flow into my arena.
Ah, beautiful right there. Beautiful right there. And it's funny how the crime analyst job helped you to become, I guess, a stronger coach to metaphorically get the six pack abs in coaching, right?
The six pack abs. Yes, yes, yes. Absolutely. One of the things that the crime analyst job really helped me with is, for I want to say 10 plus hours, 12, sometimes 14-hour days, I was ingesting, I will say, through my eyes, crime reports.
Wow.
And, reading all about all the crime in the city that I was working for. And that can get really heavy. Some of those crimes
Mhm.
are just kind of simple things, and others are pretty intense. And at the time when I was doing that, like I said, I was also getting my certification as a Reiki Master practitioner. And so really getting to become more familiar and aware of what am I feeling? What energy am I taking in, surrounding myself with? And as I became more and more aware of that, it became more and more uncomfortable because I can set my intentions all I want all day, every day. And yet, if I'm also multiple hours a day taking in negative, low vibe information, that's going to lead to split energy. And it did. It absolutely did for me. So now I'm not saying anything about someone else who does that for a lifetime and that's their passion and that's their purpose. For me, it wasn't longer than what I did it for, but it absolutely served a purpose because I got to see what that was like to have such split energy with, okay, I'm wanting to move in one direction. And yet this is what it's like when I keep every single day infusing my mental space with just, all these unpleasant things that people are doing out in the world. And that was a huge lesson for me to learn about myself and absolutely to be able to support the clients that I work with today, for sure.
Sweet. And as you were talking and you mentioned the Reiki Master ability, it's like you're this female version of Batman. You're basically Batman with your like utility belt of all these tools you got. So what led to the Reiki Master idea? Like what inspired that to add to your arsenal?
I love that. The female Batman. I love it. So that was one of those things that, like I said, like as soon as I moved in that direction of coaching, it's like one thing after another started falling into place. Reiki was something that I had actually considered many years prior to me even doing coaching. And I had just been intrigued about metaphysics and the healing arts and those kinds of things, but it wasn't the right time when I, first was looking into it. And so here I was, I first got my coaching certification that was going to lead me to getting my ICF certification. And in the middle of that, I found a law of attraction coaching program that I never saw myself taking, and yet was such a fantastic gift. And I'm grateful that I did, because that then opened me up to understanding more about universal principles and energy and how all of that impacts everything we do in the world, which then led to Reiki, which then led to, okay, now I'm setting an intention because, gosh, I'd love to be a guest on a podcast. And within a month, an opportunity for me to host my own podcast showed up. And so all these pieces were coming together to show me how what I choose to think, speak, and believe will show up for me in my reality. So Reiki was just this extra piece of being able to help my clients energetically heal and shift their energy, as I was also learning how to shift my own. And it's a fantastic tool that combines real nicely with all the tools that I have today and my Batwoman tool belt.
So what would be your Batmobile?
You know what? It's so funny. My favorite car, and this is so old, I love like a 1970s Jeep Grand Cherokee Wagoneer with the wooden side paneling. How's that for a Batmobile?
Heck, I'll take it because that's actually one of your huge goals in life is to have your own adventure show, and that vehicle's fitting for the goal. So, I mean, makes perfect sense, right?
It makes total sense to me. And on my bucket list is, you know, someday, Dom, I have to go visit Connecticut someday. And I associate that vehicle with Connecticut. So maybe the two are going to happen at the same time. We'll see.
Do you feel like you have family there? Like, of all states, why Connecticut?
You know what? Here's what happened. I was about 18 years old and I saw a photo, I probably in a magazine, but I saw a photo of this brick house with snow on it. And there was a Jeep Grand Cherokee Wagoneer in the driveway with the wooden side paneling. And the caption at the bottom of the photo placed it somewhere in Connecticut. And I just, in that moment, I just fell in love with the photo and said, oh my goodness, I have to go to Connecticut. So, these things that don't quite make sense, but somehow stick with us, that's one of mine. And so someday I'm going to go to Connecticut and I'm excited about it.
I feel like once you finally have the time when this darn COVID goes into permanent hibernation, or you go there and you might go on your own personal Celestine prophecy journey once you get there or something. Maybe that's what's going to happen. Who knows?
I've considered it, Dom. Yes, that's a real, very real possibility for me, for sure.
Yes, indeed. And speaking of journeys, you're an adrenaline junkie. So my goodness, like, how was the skydiving experience?
You know what? Okay, skydiving was one of those things that it's like, okay, I'm glad I did that. I get to check that off. And for me personally, it didn't quite hit the mark. So
Oh,
I was surprised by that. And that's what led me to then say, okay, since this didn't really do it for me, then I now have to try bungee jumping. And that was something that I had always said, no, 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 I'll do skydiving. I'll do skydiving. I'm not going to do bungee jumping. But when skydiving didn't do it, it was like, okay, we're going to consider bungee jumping now. And bungee jumping did it. So that was pretty awesome.
so I'm guessing no hang gliding yet.
Not yet. That's another bucket list one. I'm excited for that one. That's going to be fun.
There you go. Fun on the bun indeed. Fun on the bun indeed. So, since this is far from your first rodeo, is there a question you wish you'd be asked more often when you're in the guest side of the game on these podcasts and interviews and such?
That's a great question, Dom. And I don't think I have an answer for you on that. I just love to connect with people. I love to have conversations like this with people like you. And yeah, no, I wish, you know what? Gosh dang it. That would be one to have. What would be a good question? What question do you like to be asked, Dom?
First time someone actually threw it back to me, and fun enough, I was prepared for this one. And that one is, why are libraries filled with gold? Why are libraries filled with gold? Because that's the question that folks don't ask that much. And I always keep that in the back pocket because, as you know, day job, librarian, and libraries are information sanctuaries. And to be honest, libraries are still seen as they were back in the 80s as opposed to now in the year of 2020, where it's a new millennium and the millennium's about to drink in a few months and it turns 21. Is that really, it's more than just a place filled with books. It's a community hub because the library I work at, a public one, like, we're a community resource. Like, folks come for Wi-Fi and to apply for unemployment, and they come to bring their kids to get them started with early reading and playing. And we have about a good, my God, before COVID, anywhere between 150 and 300 teenagers come after school because we had a big high school behind us that has about a good about a good 1,000 students, and then we're a drop-off point for about 5 to 7 other schools. So we're basically everything to everyone. So yeah, that's the major question that I wish folks would ask me more often. So yeah, yeah.
Well, I'm glad we got to answer that here on your show today.
Oh yeah. That's right. Kim's like, yeah, yeah, get a talking break and get to drink some water.
No, but you just taught me something. One of the things I help people with is with preparing for interviews. And I was like, oh, Dom just showed me something right there. Right there, y'all. File that one away for sure.
Yeah. And speaking of falling away, like, my goodness, how'd you end up in a neo funk jazz band of all things like that? Like, you have this wonderful chill, smoothing voice. It's like it can calm probably about any storm, and then you end up in this jazz funk band, and you're so a lovely lady of rhythm. So how did that end up? Was it a
Okay, well,
420 experience?
no, it was not a 420 experience. Oh goodness. You know what? I grew up singing and taking lessons, singing in choirs and competitions, show choir, all of that kind of stuff. And that was in 2011. And my grandma, who was actually one of my voice teachers when I was a kid, she had just passed away. And so I
Mm.
was in the space at the time, in the space of just wanting more connection with her, and also wanting to get back into, having music in my life more regularly, and really wanting to sing. And so I just kind of put it out there. Like, I'd love to sing with some people. And, I put the feelers out there and connected with some people, and the opportunity arose. And I think honestly, like, couldn't have been a better kind of band for me and the music I like to create than a neo soul, funk, reggae, jazz band, because we had awesome, awesome music. So yeah, I was only in it for a little less than a year, but it was good stuff.
Yeah, that's right. Good with 10 O's, I bet, wasn't it?
Exactly. Good with, I'm gonna say 11 O's. 11 O's.
Oh, all right. One-upmanship. All right. There we go. That's what I'm talking about. 11, baby. That's right. It's a message. That's right. It's a message. 11th month of recording. 11 O's. It's a message. Cheerio. 11 of them.
Yes. Cheerio.
Yep, I could tell she was fighting back. It's like, I'm going to try and make sense of this. You know what? No, I'm not. No. I'm like-
Exactly. Yeah. That's exactly it, Dom.
That's right. Just go with it. Just go with it.
Just going with it.
One of the few times where it's okay to go with the flow. That's right. One of the few times.
I'm all about the flow. I love, love, love the flow. Flow is what helps us, to keep going north. The flow is where it's at, yo.
That's right. That's what I'm talking about. Especially when it involves bliss. So, were you able to still keep your bliss this year of 2020? Because no, that was your word for the year.
Oh, look at you. Look at you. So, my word actually changed this year. It's so funny that you say bliss. I don't remember bliss. Yeah, I guess at the beginning of the year, which feels like light years away at this point. The beginning of this year was completely different for me. So, one of the things I tend to say is that my 2020 was actually more so 2019. 2019 was a rocky year. And so at the beginning of 2020, I was still moving through some of that, healing through some of that, processing it and all of that. And as we got into finally around middle of 2020, things were lightening up, things were feeling better and shifting. And as time went on, I mean, we're all having our own experience, but I also just got to see, like, we're all having similar experiences, just maybe on a slightly different timeline. And I see how, like, what I experienced, I see so many other people are experiencing right now in this time. So my word actually switched from, I guess, from bliss, now that I remember it, to embody. And to me, that has a lot of meaning, because when we keep everything outside of ourselves, we're not really being present with it. If I'm choosing to, be at peace, if I'm choosing to remember that, gosh, the core essence of who I believe I am is love, then how am I being love? How am I embodying that? And making sure that I'm being more present and actually listening to my body and what it's telling me. Because I do believe that our bodies are communicating to us at all times. And if we're not paying attention to it, if we are in denial of it, if we are discounting it, devaluing it, then that's going to show up in other places, in other ways outside our lives. And I don't want to experience that anymore. And I think that things get really screwed up when we aren't fully being present with what's going on and embodying our truth.
There you go. That's right. Got to put on that hero costume. Got to put on the cape. That's right. Metaphorically. Just metaphorically.
Why metaphorically? Put on that cape.
There you go. That's right. On the cape, it could say, "Every day is a new day. She brings joy and sunshine. Every day is a hero." That's right.
Aw, thanks, Dom. You bring the smiles and the laughter and the humor for sure.
Ah, yes, indeed. I aim to please, at least to a fault.
This sounds like a nice fault then.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. So, my goodness. So, with all this wonderful experience, and it's actually interesting you chose Embody because it feels like that's kind of where a lot of folks either are going into that area where they feel like they may need to embody a new person, or they could need to really get more in touch within themselves. So, you mentioned how you're listening more to your body and becoming more self aware. So, what's probably been helping you through that process?
Hmm. What's been helping me with that process is being more mindful about who am I being, about who am I, about what are my thoughts, and am I discounting my ability to change my thoughts? Am I not taking that extra step in, choosing different thoughts when it can be so easy to stay in a space of comfort of whatever the thought pattern has been, right? It takes that extra a little effort. Let's shift into, okay, let's actually then do what serves us better to move forward, do that work. So all of these different things, they really help. Also balance. Some people say there isn't balance. I don't really care if there is or isn't balance. To me, it's about, where are we imbalanced and how can we start to balance those scales a little more, find more harmony in our life, right? So, all work and no play makes, you a dull person, right?
Hmm.
It's just about, okay, look, if I know that I've been getting a certain intuitive message and I haven't been listening to it, it's time to start listening to it. It's time to start doing something about it. We're not meant to stay stationary. We're not meant to never shift or change in life. We're meant to grow and evolve. And that's where the flow comes in. And that's where the more that we are in flow, we get to continue to go north, move forward, and experience more of what feels good in life rather than being stuck and rigid and trying to change things in a way that's actually not healthy. We can change things in a way that is healthy and change things in a way that's not healthy. And so, really being in tune, listening, embodying allows us to be more in flow and create the change we desire to see and desire to experience.
Woohoo! That's right. Heck, maybe even with all five eyes, depending on if you wear glasses or not, right?
Yes, all five eyes. I love it. Yeah.
Yeah, you know, the
My
third
eyes, my
eye.
glasses, the third eye. Exactly. Yep, yep, yep.
That's
You
right.
said something else a moment ago I wanted to respond to, and it, maybe it'll come back.
Maybe all work and no play makes Jack a samurai, I guess. Maybe that was what it was.
Samurai. Hey, there's another phrase I love. If you want to go far, no, no. If you want to go fast, go by yourself. If you want to go far, go with others. I love that phrase. That just came up for me as you were talking about being a samurai, You can get the job done, but are you going to be happy with your end result? You can, if you need to cut something out, I don't know what I'm saying now, Dom. I'm being thrown off. I don't know what I'm saying. Do you ever have those experiences where you have the visuals in your head and yet the words don't quite come to
Oh,
your
yeah.
mouth?
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay. Yeah. There's a little bit of that going on right now. So I don't know. Maybe that's a fill in the blank, like a Mad Libs for the audience.
And now you know why I use so many darn puns and dad jokes.
Now I get it.
There's a method to all the madness, the macho madness of Randy Savage. That's right, all the macho madness. But speaking of macho madness, or should I say the magnificent magic, you have this wonderful book that you're a part of, Navigating the Clickety Clack. That's right, yes, indeed. So tell us a bit about that project and your experience with it thus far.
Yeah. I'm excited. I'm excited. I actually started this year out writing two completely different books. I think I'd mentioned those two at some point. Started out with one and then pivoted to a second one, was all on track with that one, and then felt like kind of hit a wall with that one too. And I was like, well, what's going on? I thought I was going to write again this year. And lo and behold, within a few months, this next book came up, and I'm very grateful to be part of it. So yes, it's called Navigating the Clickety Clack, How to Live a Peace-Filled Life in a Seemingly Toxic World. And it's very fitting because a few years ago I did a talk on, how to stay grounded regardless of the chaos going on around you. And it's so fitting for right now in this world because, oh my goodness, I think this is the time where everyone's getting the time and the space to practice embodying that peace-filled experience to the degree that they can, regardless of what's going on around them that they cannot control. That tornado, that whirlwind storm happening just outside their front door. And of course, that could be a million different things we could come up with. And how do you still maintain sanity? How do you still maintain your own, joy, your inner peace, and what matters most to you without allowing all those external things take over you? It's something I've had a lot of experience with, and I'm grateful to be able to showcase some of that in the book. And so yes, there are, I want to say 20 of us in the book. We've got Jack Canfield, Bob Proctor, Christy Whitman, and then 17 of us other authors that are contributing. And when I was thinking, what's the story I want to share in this book? I really went back to 2012, and I won't give it all away, but 2012 when, do you want me to give it all away? No, I'm not going to give it all away.
Oh no, just 2012, that just triggers in my head like, oh, okay. Twinkies for a month. We lost them. Crap.
Was that the year of the Twinkie?
Yeah.
Oh, goodness. Oh my God. See, what are you going to do? The Twinkies are gone. How do I maintain inner peace? Exactly. So yes, that time in 2012 when we were all dealing with the disappearance of the Twinkies, and and I was also dealing with being laid off, and how am I going to move through that? And it was really fascinating to see how things evolved and the end result. So basically, that's my chapter in the book, as I talk about that experience of, unexpectedly receiving that notification. You only have a limited time left for having your job, and then you got to do something else, get paid somewhere else, and all of that. And what do you do when you're faced with that? So yeah, so I share that in the book. I know a lot of people are dealing with that this year, and it's going to be a great book. One of those books that you can pick up, and if you only have a few minutes, read one chapter, be inspired. You know all about that because you've also been author in some of those books. So from crappy to happy.
Yeah, that's right. From crappy to happy. That's right. Instead of pappy, it's happy. That's right.
Yeah. The original title, From Crappy to Happy. Instead of pappy, it's happy.
Yeah, exactly. Because not everybody's a pappy. Some are bobbies.
There you go.
That's right. A corn cob a day keeps the people groaning all day. It's wonderful.
Oh my goodness. Okay. The next iteration of this is Going North, Dad Jokes for Miles.
Yes. All right. Yes. There we go. All right. Good. All right. That's right. It's going to be a content machine. That's right. They ain't going to see it coming. They could have 6 eyes. They won't even see it coming. It'll be great. But yes, indeed. It's funny you mentioned now that year 2012. That was actually a pretty interesting year as living just keeps happening, because a couple of my buddies, they've had a couple of paradigm shifts that year, like myself included. Like, it's one heck of a year, and now 8 years, at least at the time of this recording, going back then, it's amazing seeing the growth from that. Because were you helping folks getting jobs back then as an interview coach? Was that before or after this?
That was right before.
Oh,
So that was the third unexpected turning point, where here I had just started my master's program. I had decided to do a master's in mental health counseling. I had just started it, working full time, doing a master's full time, not really having any social life outside of that. And all of a sudden, oh, Kim, you're going to lose your job. And for most people, they know that when you have a job and you're looking for another one, that's another full-time job. So
Mm-hmm.
there wasn't time for this master's degree. And I somehow managed to at least finish that one semester. That was very stressful. So that's when I was, looking for another job frantically. And just that was my focused on getting that other job. I was not going to have a gap in employment. I was determined that that was going to just, flow from one job to the next. So that was right before. And that next year, shortly after I got the new job and started in it, I realized, okay, this master's thing is just not happening. This is just not happening. So what am I going to do? I pivoted into coaching, and I realized I had a lot that I really could serve people with in terms of preparing for employment interviews. And so that's how I started, is I started helping people prepare for job interviews. And it was fun, when they're like, oh my gosh, I've been interviewing for a year and now I finally got the job. And that was that extra reassurance that I needed, to help me go, okay, Kim, you're on the right path now. Things are working. And then came the certifications and continuing forward and growing out my coaching business and all that.
Yeah, that's right. She's a passionate, purpose-filled woman, baby. And for those who've been following along closely, she mentioned the word embodiment. So she helps folks get more confident when they're looking for a job. So that story is proof that if you hire on as a coach, you're getting someone who's done something before in their life, is actually living their message.
Dom, thank you so much for adding that. I want to add that, I started with the interview coaching, and then it morphed into more personal empowerment coaching, confidence coaching, like you said, and helping people go deeper. Because what I learned is pretty much every client I've had, they're awesome at what they do. They just have a hard time expressing that. They have a hard time really owning that and being that, so that the interviewer gets it. The interviewer can see, oh my gosh, this person's incredible. And they're the obvious choice of who to hire. So that's when I just started helping people, everyday confidence. What is it that's going on that you are feeling like you're not just, you can't fully be who you are, express yourself. And that's where I started using the phrase of be more of you. And it's not necessarily that you need to be more of anything else, but it's who is it that you know yourself to be, or think that you might be, maybe you want to be, and you aren't allowing yourself to own it, to embody it. And so that's where I'd love to go deeper with my clients and just help them, shine and be their amazing self in everyday life, as well as at work. And of course, in their job or podcast interviews as well.
Amen to that. That's right. That EOC, that embodiment of confidence right there, baby. That's right. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. So, speaking of podcast interviews, you got a super special, awesome show of your own where you've actually been recognized as a luminary, aka one of the new media influencers, I believe. What was that, 3 years ago by Steve Olsher?
Yeah, I think it was 3 years ago. Yeah, 2018. 2018.
Ah, yeah. Feels like 5 years ago. So,
It
with
does.
that,
Yeah.
that's right. Time flies when you don't want it to. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. And of course, when you're having fun. But out of curiosity, what are three major lessons you've learned from running and hosting your show thus far for these few years and counting?
Oh, so many. Only three. Okay. So, first and foremost would be that it's not just for what, I initially thought, oh, this is going to be great. I'm going to be able to help, share inspiration and showcase other people and help people know that, what you have to offer is worthy of sharing with audiences, and, kind of seeing this kind of win-win-win thing, right? I get to host a show, which I love to do. I also get to help the speaker be showcased, and I also get to help the listener in receiving inspirational, helpful information. And I would say, first and foremost, the first lesson was for me. It was for me in taking my own confidence to that next level. Because when I went into it, I was a little nervous, but I didn't realize how much unknown anxiety was still buried within me that I had to work through. It was like, it's a total curveball. So first and foremost was, you're doing a show for any other purpose other than you, you'll learn the lesson. It's going to be for you first. Secondly, I would say is that people are listening even when you think they're not. And so that's interesting because that'll come back in certain ways where, either people I don't know at all will reach out and say something. And that's, I'm so grateful for that. And then also to hear people that I do know that are, either friends or family in my own life, and hear them say things about like, wow, Kim, it's changed over the years, or, they just see the growth and shift in me, things like that. It's just good to know that people are listening, even when you think they might not be. And third lesson to share. I would just say, make sure that you're having fun, because if you're not having fun, then what is the point? And I would say that's for any topic at all that you're doing it on. If it's feeling like work, then if it's feeling like work to the host, it's not going to be fun and energizing for the audience. So that's a question I've had to ask myself many times of, okay, what can I do to make this more fun? And every time I do that, then I pivot and things evolve, and I like it even more, and it continues to grow. So that's a question that I think is really valuable.
Yeah. That's right, because you have been making it more fun and deep and having these guests come on and make these songs based on different themes of new vision for 2021. And we got a few weeks left of it. So is I think action is gonna be the last few
Mhm.
weeks, right?
You're so good. Yes, yes, yes. So right now we've been doing Rise and Shine, creating 2020 vision. Started in July. It's going to go all the way through December 10th. And every Monday and Thursday at 9 a.m. Pacific time, 12 p.m. Eastern, we've got our episodes where I bring on different guests. And we've been talking about, like you said, different themes. So we started off with vision. We're now talking about, well, we then moved into mindset. We're now talking about emotions, and we're just about to move into action. And it's all about empowering people and moving in the direction of where they want to go, and rather than allowing the outside world to take them off course, distract them, and completely uproot their life, unless that's meant to happen, right? Because that can serve a purpose too. But
Yep.
we also have the ability to wait a second, where do I want to set my sail? What's the direction I want to move in? Where is my north? Is it looking sideways and getting taken off track? Or is it really something else, my dreams, that I'm ready to move towards? And how can my mindset and my vision and my emotions and taking action really serve me and support me, empower me in moving in that direction? So that's what it's all about. And they're just awesome conversations, and they're so fun. And like you said, yes, I ask every guest at the end, if they'd be open to making up a song, and it's fun when they do.
That's right. Fun on the bun indeed. Yes, indeed. That's
Yep.
right. It doesn't even have to be a honey bun either. That's right. It could be all the buns. That's right.
Be all the buns. That's right. It can be all the buns. You just came up with that one out of nowhere.
Yep, that's right. It's like when I say spread the chocolate everywhere. It's like, yep, Dom's at it again. Dom's at it again. Well, Lordy. But before I get too far off the deep end, like I usually do, coming down to the magical question that every guest gets to receive. And it's kind of unfair since you could pass for 23, but if you're to wake up tomorrow and you are 25 again, but this time in the current year of 2020, with all of your knowledge and experience, and there was no pandemic, what advice would you give to yourself?
Oh, that's a great question. Well, first, I have to say that it's been very important to me for a very long time to make sure that I am living my life with as few regrets as possible. Because that's the one thing I don't want to have when I get to the end of my life. Now, does that mean everything's been perfect? Absolutely not. It means that I choose to learn from everything so that everything has served a purpose and has value. So, if I were to be 25 with what I have learned today, oh my goodness, I would have not allowed things to be as complicated as they were. I would have allowed myself to say, you know what? I don't have to do things the traditional way. I can do things in the way that feel exciting for me. I mean, I would have moved into coaching at 25. I would have started on that pathway. I would have not allowed, I know I hear some people, I'm going to go ahead and say it. So I'm in my early 40s today, and I hear some people say, oh, well, I'm only 20 something, I'm not qualified. I don't have enough life experience to coach. Absolutely not. And I'm grateful to hear that there are people out there who have not allowed that to stop them. I think that there have been there definitely were times in my life where I was waiting to be a certain age to start something, somehow thinking I had to get more experience, right? That's very common for a lot of people. More experience, more certification, more to finally be worthy of starting that thing you want to start. And all you really need is that passion. So it's not a discredit to education or anything of that sort. It's just making sure that you're actually utilizing what you are gaining and taking that action forward rather than thinking you still aren't enough. And so my 25-year experience second go around would be something along those lines of saying, stop letting it be so confusing, Kim. Just start doing it now. Just start helping people now. Just start coaching people now. Just start, hanging your hat and doing it today.
Ah, there we go, indeed. And a part of me thought you're gonna say you're gonna do that smooth jazz R&B album / spoken word book. That's right. Just gonna be Kim with the hat on the side, be in the nice little ball. They all snapping their fingers because she's reading the poetry, doing that voiceover work of her own work.
You
Yeah.
just came up with a whole other book that I could do that I've never even considered doing, Dom, but that sounds great.
What? You haven't considered it? A poetry book,
No.
really? Didn't you write poetry at one point?
Well, that's so funny that you say that. My goodness. Okay, well, yes, but oh my goodness. Okay, yeah, you're digging some stuff up. Yeah, for sure. I wrote poetry like all as a kid and a teenager, and I still have all of it. And yes, at one point I did consider publishing it, but I actually more so at the time was thinking they were all going to be songs. That everything I was writing, rather than being poems, that they were songs. They just didn't actually have music to them, which made them more poems. So, um, yeah. But I have, that's not something I've thought about in a really long time. So it's nice to think about. Maybe I'll consider that.
Exactly. I mean, hey, you're looking to do voiceover work. Folks love to hear the voice. I mean, hey, reading the poems, do some guided meditations, be income stream for you.
I love giving guided meditations. I love, love, love it, Dom. Yep. That's something I offer on my website too. For anybody who's looking for some custom guided meditations, check me out.
Woohoo! Well, speaking of checking you out like a library book, what's the best way for folks to reach out to the wonderful Special K herself?
Well, they can email me at kimoneil@outlook.com, and that's KIMONEILL at outlook.com. They can also go to KimONeillCoaching.com, check out my different services. There's links to my podcast, and of course, contact me right through my website as well. And I love to hear from people. So please don't hesitate. Let me know, how I can be of service to you. I'd love to support you in moving forward, gaining that confidence and inspiring you in all of that, because this is your time. I'm speaking to the audience right now. This is your time. Don't let anybody else take it from you. Bottom line, it's just like, this is your life. This is all of our lives. This is our time. We're here for a limited window of time, just like an interview. And so how are you charting that course? What are you doing to showcase the best of yourself and experience the best that you can here on earth? Your life doesn't have to look like anybody else's. So first you got to know, who are you? What do you want? And then what does that look like? And start to move in that direction. And that's where the embodying and listening to your intuition and all of that really plays a huge, huge role. So I'm here to serve anybody who's feeling maybe like an oddball, an outcast, feeling like they can't move in that direction. Yes, you can. I'm a huge, huge supporter of people being who they authentically are and moving forward for sure.
That's right. Moving forward. That's right with them ball observations, baby. That's right. That's right.
Absolutely.
Listen, that's right.
Everyone's unique. Everyone serves a purpose. Everyone has a place.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Well, amen to that, folks. So there you have it. That's right. Head over to KimONeillCoaching.com. Find Kim ONeill on all the wonderful social medias. Look for the brunette, not the blonde. Look for the brunette, not the blonde, because there's another Kim ONeill out there who does different stuff. So definitely check it out in the show notes and show her some love. Buy some copies of all of her wonderful books. Heck, she might even have some left to autograph for you, too. And she might even send a couple baby booties for your kid or your grandkid, too, along with
Because
the
I
wonderful.
crochet. Yes, that's true.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Woohoo! So, any parting words for the folks who made it to the end like the champions that they are?
You know what? I would say pat yourself on the back. Pat yourself on the back for making it to the end of the podcast. Pat yourself on the back for getting up again today. Say something kind to yourself right now and then celebrate yourself for doing that too. Take that in, feel it, allow yourself to receive it because it all starts with you, the individual. You're amazing, you're powerful, and hope everyone knows that.
How's it going, my friend? I'm glad you made it to the end. That shows that you really enjoyed what you heard and you are an uncommon finisher. Thanks for giving this show a listen. If you really want to help out the show, be sure to subscribe, leave a review, and share this with someone that you care about or someone that needs to hear this message because we want to spread this podcast around like butter on bread if that's your type of thing. And if it's not your type of thing, still spread it around anyway because good stuff needs to be shared with good people like yourself.